Hi, welcome to Pixel Reboot's RigTalk. I'm Hybrid Havoc, and joining me today is Stacie Bowman. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm all right, and we're going to be talking about your amazing artwork that you do.
Thank you.
And the makeup artwork that you do as well.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited to go over this. You've been a family friend for almost 10, 15 years now?
A long time.
Yes. Yes. And the first thing I want to get into is what inspires you for these pieces that you do?
Well, I've always been really into art. Ever since I was a small child, I always said I'm going to be an artist, from a very, very young age. I just kind of had that weird little quirk always.
Yeah.
As I began to get older, I was always a weird kid, never fit in much like, a lot of nerdy kids, just being on the art end of the spectrum.
Are you saying gamers?
Hot take. Gamers are kind of considered nerds.
I don't know. I think we've came a long way.
Yes, true.
Other than makeup artists.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. But yeah, I feel like it's a similar strain. Like weirdos, people that don't necessarily fit into your stereotypical molds. And
our audience.
And but yeah, as I like I said, as I began to get older, it's like, I go through like goth phase, and which now at 30 I still haven't grown out of.
Sure.
But that really got me into horror, which really piqued my interest in aesthetic. And it's not just horror movies, but body modifications in general. I consider makeup to be a very temporary form of body modification because you can completely alter your appearance. You can change your bone structure by shaping it different ways with,
I did see that on your site. You did like this back piece on someone.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
Yeah, that was actually, I did that, that was in third semester of schooling. I went to the Tom Savini Special Makeup Effects program. That's outside of Pittsburgh. That was in my semester 3 page to screen class, and that was actually a foam latex prosthetic.
Yeah.
And it was so fun to paint. That was a really good one. I had fun with that.
With that school, what other schooling did you take to get to the profession you were at? And did you also do a lot of stuff like just your own practice to get as good as you are?
Oh, thank you. Well, a lot of it came from just being self-taught. I've always had a fascination with beauty makeup, and I've always had a fascination with painting. Those two kind of melded together, and a lot of that is self-taught. I went to art school. When I was younger, I took, I think, 2 semesters at WVU in art, but I've just always had a fascination with it. And I've read a lot of books on it, watched a lot of tutorials. It's mostly self-taught.
Did you do mostly studio art at that point?
When I first got into face painting, they've gone hand in hand my whole life. I've always been into makeup, and I've always been into art. Those two side by side. I don't think one necessarily preceded the other. I didn't obviously get into makeup until I was typical age, 14, 15. I was always, so I guess, yeah, in a lot of ways, canvas, painting, drawing, stuff like that. It did predate that a little bit, but...
So we're going to look over some of the artwork that you've done, and I want to ask you some questions about it.
Okay.
And you're going to tell me a little bit about it, and they're going to be pulled up on our main computer right now. So
right.
And so this is you applying like a face paint at some point?
Yes, this is actually what's called a latex buildup. So it's layers of liquid latex and toilet paper. You
Really?
rip the 2 plies apart, stick it to the face, layer liquid latex, you basically lasagna it. It's very, very, very basic effects, but it's still, it's used at almost every level. The only reason it's not used a ton more is because you cannot no matter what you do, you're going to get a textured effect with it. You're not going to be able to blend it into the skin like you would be able to with a silicone or a foam latex prosthetic.
Yeah.
But for the look I was going for there, and it was for a photo shoot, it worked perfectly because it was supposed to be like an unhinged, very rough jaw. Put some blood splatter over that, and you got a stew cooking.
Now this is one of the first things I remember seeing you do of art. Now this is a gaming character too, right?
This was actually, and this is going to sound nerdy, but I promise it's not as nerdy as it is.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't want to say nerdy. This is not as gamerific as it sounds.
Okay.
But I modeled this after my EverQuest character, which was a dark elf necromancer.
Okay.
It was, the armor was made by my friend Heather. It's made out of Worbla and paint.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be very careful with that one because it's very easy to get very distasteful when you're doing a dark elf. You could accidentally edge into a very dangerous territory there, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. The ears were just pre-made prosthetics.
I do.
Yeah. So yeah, I used red transition colors there to kind of not make it look like blackface, essentially, because nobody wants that.
I didn't even think that you were doing that, and
well, I'm just saying when you do dark elf,
really well. Yeah, no,
thank you.
Because I played a dark elf in Morrowind, and this is exactly correct. That's how you would do it.
Yeah, it's all about those transition shades.
Let's get your next shot that I like. I really like this one, and
Mars Attacks.
Yes, this one.
That one's one of my favorites.
Now, I loved Mars Attacks when it came out. So what was your inspiration for this?
Mars Attacks.
And the next slide.
And we're done. This was actually one of my very first times using water-activated face paints, which are a lot more vivid than cream-based products.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been one of my favorite movies. You know my sister.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up on that movie to the point where we both got sick of it and then watched it so many more times we weren't sick of it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a classic, and I just really love the shades used there, the gradients, like how the yellow fades into the green, into the forehead. I mean, that was just a blast.
Very good. Yeah, it's a solid one. I like that one a lot. And then let's see, I think this is one of your amazing pieces. This is one that just blew my mind.
That one's probably one of my favorites. That one probably took the most time, and I couldn't see it all. Those contacts.
I'm sure that was terrifying. This is for Halloween?
This was actually for the zombie walk in Morgantown. So this was about a week before Halloween, I think back in 2016, I want to say.
Yeah.
That one has a forehead prosthetic on it that I painted. And then the under eyes, the mouth, all of that is face paint except for the dripping around the mouth. That's actually melted gelatin. So,
wow.
Yeah.
It's a really cool piece. Get one last look at that.
That one was fun.
And then you have a bullet hole in your chest as well?
Yes. Yeah, that is a prosthetic as well.
And let's see. This one will gross out a lot of people. That's why I picked it.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's just wax, scar wax built up. But that's always fun for the creepy factor.
I just want to put edit little worms moving around in it.
Yeah. Okay. Really make everyone hate you.
Just hate that.
Oh yeah, my sister hates that one. She's very squeamish. It's called tryptophobia. I think so.
Yeah, that is correct. You did this piece, which is I liked it because it was very animated. It's like a cartoon.
It's actually Eddie is through and through one of my favorite characters. For my Animatronics is the final course I took in college.
Sure.
So in special makeup effects school at Tom Savini's, you can take two different courses. You can either do fashion and performance, which is a lot of body paint. You learn to airbrush, or you can do animatronics. Since I had been doing body paint, face painting, my whole life, I felt really well acquainted with that. I went the animatronics route. And so I was doing an Eddie. I sculpted a full Eddie. And like I said, I did this years before I did that. And it's just something about that heavy contrast look. I actually did a time-lapse video of this makeup when I made it. And
great.
It blew up.
Do you have it online?
Yeah, it's actually on my Facebook page.
It's also going to be on the description below.
Yeah.
Right down there. Right down there.
Right down there. But, yeah. That blew up. I was really surprised. It got, it's not comparable to by today, but this was like 2015 and it had like 80,000 views on it. And I was like, this is crazy. It was so
That's
exciting.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good. But send it to us and we'll definitely take that.
Definitely, yeah.
So, is there a way for people to contact you? And do you do like commissions work, or what kind of work do you do that, and...
I've been dialing back, now that I work a normal 9 to 5, I've been dialing back on commissions. Halloween is normally pretty booked for me, but I always really love the idea of getting people together for, not that I'm much of a photographer, but I do love to do people's faces for portfolio purposes, photo shoots. People love that for their own social media. Like, hey, look at my face. It's weird.
That's why I have this account.
But yeah, it's but mostly like right now I'm keeping it at a very non-monetary level, but I do commissions sometimes.
Yeah.
It's I let it canvas stuff, but like I said, for Halloween I do have
the best
a few
way to get to
slots.
contact you would be the Facebook.
Yeah, the Facebook page. I tend to reply to messages pretty quickly on there.
You do paintings as well.
Yeah, I do a lot of canvas
your
work.
artwork. Yeah.
Thank you. This is my favorite though. Face painting, makeup.
Yeah, the Iron Maiden one. Very good.
It looks like I'm drinking a beer.
I know.
It's a soda. Not that it matters, I guess.
We're drinking on a truck, god damn it.
In a Quaker Stick Lube parking lot.
Now we time dated this. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for stopping by for this Rig Talk with Stacie Bowman.
Thank you.
And you guys can check her out on Facebook, and we have the description in the bottom. And do you have anything you want to say there?
I have a lot more pieces online. I have a couple time-lapse videos. I've kind of stayed away from time-lapses a little bit more because they
take a lot of
time-consuming to edit, and I just feel like people are watching me while I'm painting. It's a whole thing. But yeah, there's a lot more content on there. It's linked. But yeah, just come check me out. Chat with me. I'd love to talk about art and makeup and maybe help anyone that needs some work done.